camp of the greatest amateur boxing team in the world, the Cuban team, led by the legendary Teofilo Stevenson. They began dominating boxing at the amateur level in the '72 Olympics in Munich. And ever since that time, they have virtually taken over amateur boxing. But in '76, an exception. The great American team, 5 golds, a silver and a bronze, led by that man, Sugar Ray Leonard. But that was the last American appearance in the Summer Olympics. Now, Cuba, boom now, as we close in on Teofilo Stevenson. You know about Teofilo Stevenson, '72, Munich, West Germany, and the doing away with Dwayne Bobbitt, then the heavyweight favorite. Stevenson's first gold medal in '76 at Montreal, after having destroyed Big John Tate of the U.S., this victory over Mircea Simon of Romania, gold medal number 2. And then in Moscow in 1980, gold medal number 3 against a diminutive Soviet opponent named Peter Zaev. And now, the American team that goes against the Cubans today. An American team led by this heavyweight hopeful Tyrell Biggs, now the super heavyweight world champion. There he was winning it against Francesco Damiani, who had earlier beaten Teofilo Stevenson. So, we are ready for the showdown in Olympic amateur boxing, the United States against Cuba. Also, you'll be seeing this reporter talking with Sugar Ray Leonard live in our Washington studios as he reviews his future career and the eye treatments that he has just been through. This is the scene in the Lawlor Events Center at the University of Nevada campus in Reno, Nevada. A spanking new arena seating 12,400 people, and nearly that many people perhaps on hand today for the best in the world in amateur boxing. The United States against Cuba. And of course, it will be climaxed. Those events which you'll be seeing as we come to you live, it'll be climaxed by Tyrell Biggs against the legendary Teofilo Stevenson, who's won 3 Olympic gold medals and will be pursuing his 4th. And the score up to this point, extremely close. Cuba leading 4-3. And the Americans giving a very good account of themselves. So we're getting ready now for the lightweight match, and we're going to pick up with the action virtually immediately. We'll fill you in on the rules as we go. That is Pernell Whitaker. Lightweights, 132-pound weight limitation, as you hear the public address announcer in the background. Pat Nappy is just touching the gloves of his fighter, Pernell Whitaker, who is a very good fighter indeed. He is an excellent boxer, a left-handed counterpuncher, and that's Angel Herrera. You've heard of him. 2-time gold medal winner for the Cubans, world champion for the Cubans, but getting up there in age. Some of you may remember Herrera against Davey Armstrong at Montreal. In my book, Armstrong won that match, turning southpaw in the middle of the match, but they gave Herrera what I felt was a wrong decision. We pick up with the action in round 1. You know the basic Olympic boxing rules. Must hit with the white portion of the glove. We call it pronating the blow. Headgear in both Cuba and the United States now mandatory. Every precaution taken for the safety of the fighters. It's 20-foot, 6-inch ring. Lots of room to maneuver. Whitaker, as I noted, a southpaw. Of course, Herrera always has been a southpaw. Nothing new about that. Whitaker is not an exciting fighter. He makes for a dull fight, but he's an effective fighter. 3 times in a row after losing to Herrera, Whitaker has defeated him. Feels he's got Herrera's number. And certainly age is catching up with Herrera. Okay, you saw the rabbit punch from Herrera, the boos of the crowd. The crowd, of course, utterly partisan, so don't pay a lot of attention to them. Whitaker is 20 years old. This is a young American team, very close to the team that will be representing us in the Olympics, but of course a team today without maybe the greatest fighter of all, and that's a young man named Breland, whom you've read and heard so much about. He's after his 5th Golden Gloves gold medal, which is why he's not appearing here today. But Whitaker, an excellent contender for Olympic gold at Los Angeles some 5 months hence. So far, this first round looks very even. Third man in the ring is a neutral. His name is Ulysses Rodriguez. He is from Venezuela. Scoring will be done by 5 judges. 2 of them will be Americans. 2 of them will be Cubans. And there'll be 1 neutral. And that's a gentleman named Willie Colster from Guatemala. All right, round 2 in this, the lightweight classification, as we come to you live from the Lawlor Event Center at the University of Nevada in Reno. And right there, called a knockdown. They're giving him a knockdown. Whitaker going down. That quick blow from Herrera. Now, in Olympic scoring, as you must know, a knockdown has no more validity in terms of point scoring than a good clean blow. Second round action. Rodriguez, referee, cautioning Whitaker about use of the head. That was a good right in that exchange by Whitaker. Whitaker's task, use that ring. Pat Nappy, the American coach, a past master, as he proved at Montreal in the development of young fighters, teaching them lateral movement. Popularized more than any other person by Sugar Ray Leonard. American fighters learned how to use the ring very well at Montreal, and they're in the process of learning the same lessons as they prepare for Los Angeles. Good left lead by Whitaker. What Whitaker has to do is keep his poise. Fight the way he knows how to fight and forget about that standing 8 count, or that quick knockdown that resulted in an 8 count. Herrera, ring-wise, knows how to use the body, the upper body when in close. Minute left in the second round. First round appeared virtually even. Frankly, I thought Whitaker would look much better than he has looked thus far. You see Herrera using that ring. Cubans fight in basically the same manner as the American fighters. They move well. However, there has been a recent influx of Soviet trainers in the Cuban boxing program, and long term, that may change the Cuban style. They may become straight ahead, straight up fighters in the Soviet manner. If so, the long-term domination since Munich of the Cubans in amateur boxing, in my view, would become imperiled. We're counting down to the end of the second round. Quickly, the replay, that right, the flash knockdown scored by Herrera over Pernell Whitaker in the second round. But remember, in Olympic scoring should count for no more than a cleanly struck blow. This is the third and final round. In my view, the edge at this point would go to Herrera. Whitaker beat Herrera to the punch, though. That's what he's got to do more of in this, the decisive round. The last 3 times these two faced each other, Whitaker was clearly dominant. That is not the case here. I told you that Whitaker is a southpaw counterpuncher, as he just showed you. And he does not make for an exciting fight, but he has always made for effective results. Herrera backing off. Whitaker, not the kind of guy who comes in at you. He waits and then counters. This bout, we have had non-stop action in most of the fights, with a tremendous upset victory scored over the very great Adolfo Horta of Cuba by a youngster, Meldrick Taylor, who amazed everybody with the display he put on. Time permitting, you'll see at least some of them. Very sloppy, as you can see. Not an interesting fight, is it? But a crucial one. Remember, should Whitaker earn the decision, the United States will have tied Cuba in the score, 4 victories apiece. I do believe Whitaker has won this one. How the scoring will go, can't predict. So that's the end of the bout. And we'll await the scoring. We'll be back in a moment with the decision. Muy bien, Aurelio. We're back live at ringside, Reno, Nevada, the Lawlor Event Center, awaiting the decision in the lightweight bout between Pernell Whitaker of the United States and Angel Herrera of Cuba. Here we go. They gave it to Whitaker. 3-2, a split decision. The neutral voted for the American. Otherwise, the 2 Cuban judges voted for their man. The 2 American judges voted for their man. The neutral swung the balance. So the flash knockdown in the second round, as you look at the scoreboard, 4 victories for the United States, 4 for Cuba. Whitaker won it by winning that last round quite cleanly. So his domination of Angel Herrera, who may not make the Cuban team this year because age is catching up with him, his domination over Angel Herrera continues. So we've got a tight situation. And we've got another bout coming up. Once again, nationalism in evidence. And that's the prerogative of people. Welterweight bout coming up. Appearing for the United States will be a 21-year-old, 5'9" very strong youngster named Lewis Howard. Lives in University City, Missouri. That's Pat Nappy talking to him. This is a strongly built young man, especially in the upper body, and he will fool you. His problem is, how do you displace a fellow named Breland? And there is the opponent. And the opponent may be the Cuban's best boxer, Candelario Duvergel. He's 5'6.5" and 21 years of age. He is the Cuban national champion in the 147-pound welterweight classification. That's the 147-pound weight limitation. And the bell for round one. Third man in the ring is Manuel Montoya of Cuba. We have 3 neutrals among the officials, the judges. One from Guatemala, one from Canada, and one from Venezuela. Otherwise, we have 1 American judge and 1 Cuban judge. The 3 neutrals, this system that they have now, great improvement in purifying the scoring. Scoring has always been a problem in the judgment sports. Oh, they traded punches, and the one who paid was the American Lewis Howard. Duvergel is extremely slick. Quick, flashing left. Very quickly in the early action, we have an knockdown. You know, I was talking to young Howard yesterday, interviewing him, and he made the point that Duvergel was a great boxer, but not a puncher. He was absolutely unafraid of him, said he can't possibly hurt me, but look, he knocked him down in the first round. Duvergel did. Note, too, the 4 rope strands here in Olympic boxing. That lower, the 4th rope strand, particularly, is a great help in protecting the fighter from going onto the ring apron. On April 14th and 15th, the International Amateur Boxing Federation will hold its meetings, and from those meetings, I think there will emerge the mandatory use of headgear for the Summer Olympic Games in the boxing competition. This is first round action. Duvergel of Cuba against Howard of the United States. Duvergel with that quick left leg. Howard trying to get to Duvergel with the right. Sugar Ray Leonard, whom you'll be hearing from later, views Howard as a comer. He respects his strength, his stamina. That was it. Each throwing a right, but the quicker-handed fighter, Duvergel of Cuba, floored Lewis Howard. He landed first. Now we're in second round action, just underway. And Howard, who had a bloody nose ministered to, is now throwing punches. He's got Duvergel where he wants him, pinioned in the corner. Referee Montoya. Look at Howard now. That's some of that strength Ray Leonard was talking about. Much better beginning second round for Lewis Howard than first round at any point. boxing showing. Tied at 4 bouts apiece. One Hawkins back to 76. One can remember how Michael Speaks was a virtual unknown and how the Americans came on to win 5 golds, a silver, and a bronze. Remains to be seen if this team will do as well, but the way they're developing, superbly coached, one can expect a great team effort from them. Whole boxing program at Colorado Springs, absolutely outstanding. In a minute, this the second round. You just saw that sneak right by Duvergel. He is a quick-handed, quick-footed fighter. Movement is steady. Forced Howard to miss there. And Howard's doing the right thing. He's trying to use that upper body strength in close, trying to tire Duvergel. And Howard has had a much improved round this second round. Far improved over the first, when among other things, he suffered a flash knockdown from a Duvergel right. That was a good right by Howard. And moving that head into the Cuban fighter's shoulder. We're coming now to the end of the second round. We are back live, Reno, Nevada. The University of Nevada's great new arena. And we are waiting for the third round. Of course, the clock is stopped as they wipe water off the canvas in the Cuban corner. The man you're looking at is Lewis Howard, lives in a suburb of St. Louis. Knocked down in round 1. Lost that round, I thought, very conclusively, but had a good second round and won it, I thought. So we come to this, the third and decisive round. Howard, rather stockily built, very much an unafraid fighter. Fighter who knows how to use his body. He'll muscle you. He'll brawl. Look for an edge. And he has a good right. Meanwhile, Duvergel keeps that movement steady. Look at him. Caution from referee Montoya again about the use of the head to Howard. Okay, halfway through the final round, we'd like to alert our local stations along the line that at the end of this round, we'll take a station break. Look at Howard hurt him a little bit there. Standing 8 count, was that? No, mouthpiece. Quickly over to the corner, the clock stopped, and Cita Segarra, a very brilliant coach of the Cuban boxing team, cleans the mouthpiece, gets it back to his fighter's mouth. Minute left in the fight. Lewis Howard, the American. Candelario Duvergel, the Cuban. Wait, he was hurt again. He said Duvergel had no punch, eh? Well, he's learning. A quick-handed fighter can knock him down. He was having a good third round. He was out-muscling the other fighter, crowding him, using the shoulders, the arms, and he's fighting back now. This will be an interesting fight to watch the scoring of. Very close to the end. And in Olympic scoring, remember, you can get knocked down, as you saw Pernell Whitaker was. It's no more points in the scoring than a cleanly landed blow. Okay, we'll return with more of ABC's Wide World of Sports after this from our local... Again, we are live at the University of Nevada in Reno at ringside Lawlor Event Center, and we're awaiting the decision in the welterweight bout, 147-pound weight classification. There was this second knockdown in the fight. Again, the right. While the American, Lewis Howard, was throwing his right, the quicker-handed fighter, again, scored first with his, and an off-balance Howard went down right there, as you saw. Now, decision coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner in the welterweight division, representing Cuba, Candelario Duvergel.
Duvergel was the winner, and that could have been, I guess, expected after he took an early lead in the first round, although Howard was coming on. 5-4 is the scoreboard now in favor of Cuba, and we'll be back for more fights. Center. I've described to you a spanking new arena, part of the crowd of some 7,000 to 7,500 people, and we are, of course, in the middle of the Cuban-American boxing competition, with the Cubans currently in the lead. But now I want to take the opportunity to talk to the young man who made so much news this week, Sugar Ray Leonard, about his boxing future. Ray, of course, is in our studios. We're on a split screen, he in Washington and myself in Reno, Nevada. Ray, I'd like to take you back to the very moment when you decided to go to Dr. Ryan at the Massachusetts Eye and Ear Infirmary. What was it that caused you to go? Did you feel something in your right or healthy eye that caused you to go? What was it?
Well, Howard, to get the record straight, to clarify everything, first of all, that was the appointed physician by the state of Massachusetts that I had to go and see before I was licensed to fight there. And Dr. Ryan, he diagnosed that there were a few complications or problems that he saw in my right eye. Nothing of major concern yet. He felt that for my best and the safety of me, of my eyesight, he would administer what they call some treatment, which took, 5 or 10 minutes. I think the mass hysteria is because it's through the media. First of all, their little knowledge of ophthalmology, and their, first of all, their correct medical terminology of what actually took place.
Mm-hmm. So you feel that everything was blown out of proportion?
It was, Howard. And I also understand that because of my initial return to the ring, there will be a lot of focus on whatever examinations I will be given. And keep in mind that the pressure is upon the doctor and myself, and they want to do an extensive examination. And fortunately, he saw something, and he administered to it.
What will this do to you, if anything, psychologically, since you indicated at your press conference yesterday that you're going to continue fighting?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm in great shape. I've been given a clean bill of health through both doctors. I'm in great hands now. And I'm looking forward to getting into the ring with Kevin Howard, April or May. We should have something finalized in the next week or so. And I'm just looking forward to getting back in shape. Well, I'm in shape. Looking forward to my guy, Kevin Howard.
Of course, you understand that a great many people in this country, Ray, care very deeply about you because you've conducted yourself in such an exemplary manner ever since America discovered you in the Montreal Olympic Games. And there are many of these people who say please don't come back. How do you answer such people, Ray?
Well, Howard, throughout our telephone conversation yesterday, you know, I indicated that I want to go into the reasons why I'm returning because I explained to everyone. But keeping that in mind anyway, because it's been brought up, I think my fans, as usual, are overprotective, and I love them for that. But I think the major concern is the press, and that to me is irrelevant.
Okay, Ray. You know that I personally feel deeply about you because you've been an important part of my professional life. And I share the concern of those who do. But I recognize full well that you've got every right to pursue your way of life. And I think the people have to realize that, too, in perfect fairness. I want to thank you very much for joining us. Dr. Michaels, by the way, says you've never looked better to him.
Check this out, Howard.
What?
This is symbolic, okay?
Okay. Take care, Ray.
Thank you.
And we'll be back live from Reno, Nevada with more American-Cuban boxing in just a moment. University graduate, multi-letter athlete, great wrestler, new to boxing, can be embarrassingly clumsy from time to time, but was elected the Athlete of the Year in his home state of Delaware. Just now a caution to Aurelio Toyo, who is a great fighter, the Cuban heavyweight. He clearly won the first round. The third man in the ring, a very familiar amateur boxing figure, Tony Filippelli from Whitaker, New York. Again, another caution to Toyo. Milligan will give you all he's got. He's a great competitor, fiery, beautifully spoken young man. Hasn't been an Ivy Leaguer in Olympic boxing since Eddie Egan back in 1920. But he's very raw, very rudimentary. Doesn't have the skills as the Cubans are pulling away in this dual competition. Remember, it's a competition that did not have in it the very great Mark Breland, who will be America's entry, I'm sure, in the welterweight classification, 147-pound weight limitation. These are the heavyweights, and it's a 201-pound weight limitation. Of course, the super heavyweight still to come. Philo Stevenson against Tyrell Biggs. And right back from a good right that Milligan took that hurt him comes Milligan. As you can see, there is an absence of professional class to Milligan's efforts, but he is steadfast, and the feeling is, with his overall strength and competitive nature, he will turn out in the long run to be a good boxer. The dream, of course, to make the Olympic team. Somebody motioned out of the Cuban corner with coaching from the sidelines. Filippelli sent him out. And you just saw what I meant about embarrassingly clumsy. That's what Milligan was as he stumbled, nearly losing his balance, going halfway across the ring. We'd like to alert our local stations along the line that at the end of this round, we'll take a station break. Look at that. He took a point from Toyo for that. He's been cautioning Toyo, but down went Milligan, and the inevitable appears to be happening. That's over. That's the end of this fight. No question about it. So, the Cubans lead by a score of 7-4. And with the score 7-4, we'll return with more of ABC's Wide World of Sports after this from our local stations. Henry Milligan, America's heavyweight from Princeton. And you'll watch the knockout now in slow motion. That right. And Milligan was expertly cared for. They had the lights in his eyes, seeing if he was recovering properly. And when they were satisfied that he had all of his sensibilities, here, of course, is the official announcement as to the result of the fight. Only when they were satisfied that he had all of his sensibilities did they elect to go ahead with the usual announcement and the usual Olympic ceremony, lifting the upraised arm of Aurelio Toyo. These Cubans are great fighters. And so, the scoreboard now, Cuba 7, the United States 4. And we are about to come to the climactic event, the super heavyweights, Biggs against Stevenson. That's the U.S. super heavyweight Tyrell Biggs. He has just been gloved and now approaches the arena. Deep in his mind, of course, what happened the last time he fought Teofilo Stevenson back in '82. He went into that bout a steadily improving fighter, but he got finished off in the second round. I think it appropriate to take a look back in time to the fight that took place between them then. We pick up with action in the final seconds of the first round. And in that first round, it had been a very good round for Biggs. He seemed to be boxing very well. Then, as you watch, this is what happened. Watch that lethal right of Stevenson right there. And Biggs was doubled up in pain. He winced, and his ribs were bruised and battered anyway going into the fight. So in the second round, he had little or nothing left. And that's when that right finished him off. For Biggs, an emotional moment. He had dreamed of beating Stevenson. He broke down in tears. He congratulated the victor, but it was a desperately bad moment for Biggs.
This guy. You're not going to outpunch him.
As you see, Biggs now putting on the headgear, being talked to by, on the left, Emmanuel Stewart in the center of the picture. On the right, Pat Nappy, the American head boxing coach. Let's ask Tyrell, as I did, how he intends to be different this time against Stevenson from the time before.
Yes, I'm definitely going to fight him differently. I presume he cannot do so many things differently that he done the last time. I guess it goes back to the saying, you can't teach a old dog new tricks. And I'm still coming up, and I'm still improving, and I'm getting stronger, and I've trained really hard for this fight, and I think that the type of fight that I'm going to fight him with is going to enable me to beat him.
All right, we're back live, and the opponent for Tyrell Biggs is the man you've come to know. 3 gold medals. The only other man ever to do that is Laszlo Papp of Hungary, and this year he'll be after a 4th. He is in better condition, age catching up with him. And outside of that fight against Biggs in perfect candor, he has not looked good, losing in the World Cup Championships to Francesco Damiani, whom Biggs beat to become the world champion at the amateur level, of course. But Stevenson now down to 222 pounds. Face is a little pudgy, but the body seems a lot leaner than it was, although there is some looseness, some flab in the midrib. The action begins. Let's see if Biggs can stay away from that lethal right. To do that, he's going to have to cut down on his movements to the left. First round action. Thing always to look for in Stevenson, who was a beautiful fighter. Those years ago when he knocked out Bobbitt and destroyed Big John Tate. What a match it would have been. Stevenson in his prime against Ali in his prime. No question, Stevenson had the boxing and slugging capacities of a truly great fighter. I admire Biggs very much. Why? He didn't have to fight Stevenson today. He could have passed it by. But some people question his willingness, or indeed his wanting to fight Stevenson. And he knew that in the Olympics, he might get a blind draw. And Stevenson might have been beaten by another opponent. He wants to prove to himself that he can beat Stevenson. So the man has inner character. Just character. Stevenson missed with that right you saw. Cubans have clinched the dual competition, ahead 7-4, but not an unrespectable showing by the United States. And with 5 months to go, I think these two teams will be the dominant teams in the Summer Games. You hear the crowd in the background chanting USA. Third man in the ring is the Guatemalan. His name is Willie Goldschmidt. Coming to the end of the round. Biggs in and out.
When I warm up for a game, I use bean.
Second round action. We are coming to you live from Reno, Nevada. Stevenson against Biggs. First round, dull round. Stevenson missing with the right again, looking nothing like the Stevenson we remember from 72 and 76. Biggs moving in and out. Biggs is quick on his feet, much quicker than you'd expect. A natural southpaw. He learned to fight in orthodox fashion, watching Muhammad Ali. Many American natural southpaws felt they couldn't get fights as a pro in America, and so they converted to the orthodox style. Perfect example, Smokin' Joe Frazier. It was just the way Biggs, a natural southpaw, grew up fighting, studying Ali. A lot of holding, not a lot of hitting. Stevenson always stalking, respected. You saw the quick left scored by Biggs, in and out. Staying away, fighting cautiously, trying to score points as he sees opportunity. Stevenson short with the right. Stevenson really destroyed Biggs with his body attack the last time they fought in 82. Stevenson got the left in. Stevenson trying to go south. Biggs opening up. Stevenson, slow-footed. Not the graceful, quick-footed fighter he was when he dispatched Dwayne Bobbitt. Or for that matter, Big John Tate and Mircea Simon of Romania. Minute left in the second round. Good right. Stevenson staggered a bit. Good. Good score by Biggs. Biggs, you saw him moving that head right and left. Now Biggs is holding on. Caution from referee Goldschmidt. 2 American judges, 2 Cuban judges, and 1 neutral judge doing the scoring. The presence of neutral judges here has really helped scoring. In the cases where we've had 3 neutral judges in a fight, those were cases where there were no world champions involved. There were world champions involved, only 1 neutral judge. Coming to the end of the round. We're back live, Reno, Nevada, the University, Lawlor Sports Event Center. Third and final round, Stevenson against Tyrell Biggs. Unaccountably, Biggs has been preparing for so long for this fight. At the end of the second round, appeared flat-footed, nearly exhausted. Stevenson doesn't appear to have anything remotely resembling the old skills. This is Biggs' big opportunity. He's going to beat Stevenson. Now is the time to take command and do it. You can see some flab in Stevenson's stomach. He's worked very hard to get down to the 222 pounds he's at. Looking to unload that right. Always looking. It is lethal. He has not worked over the Big's belly the way he did the last time they fought. Big's determined not to leave himself open. Stevenson looks exhausted, doesn't he? Halfway through the round and a little more. Big scoring. Stevenson now going to the midriff. Crowd hoping for a Stevenson defeat. In truth, it's been a relatively lackluster contest. The way the fates had it, our exciting fights were the ones that took place before we came on the air. Since we came on the air, the Cubans have won 2, America's won 1, and another body shot or a low blow. He's claiming a low blow. Biggs is. They count it. Referee Carl Schmidt counts it as a fair punch, discounting Biggs' claim of a low blow. If ever a man has to keep his poise, Biggs does at this point. Biggs is kind of flopping around. Biggs fighting almost amateurishly at this point with that clumsy miss. And that's the end of the fight. Biggs lifting his arms up. He's dead tired, hugging a Cita Segarra, the Cuban boxing coach. Stevenson hardly looks in the palest of condition. And we'll be back. That's Emmanuel Stewart right there with Biggs. We'll be back with the decision in a moment. We are back live, Reno, Nevada, Lawlor Event Center, awaiting the decision. Super heavyweights. Teofilo Stevenson to the left, Tyrell Biggs to the right.
A three-time gold medal winner in the Olympic Games from Cuba, Teofilo Stevenson.
Stevenson gets the decision by a 3-2 count. So, once again, Tyrell Biggs with opportunity beckoning him, couldn't come through. A terrible disappointment for this fine youngster. Stevenson, who has not recaptured the glorious ability of the past, comes out the winner in a close call. One blow downed Biggs. Somebody just pushing in front of me for autographs right in the middle of a telecast. One blow down Biggs. The referee actually blocked our camera at that point. Biggs claimed it was a low blow, but of course in Olympic scoring it only counts as much as any other solidly registered blow. And the scoreboard shows that the Cubans have won this dual competition by a score of 8-4. One wonders in the face of Teofilo Stevenson's performance today if he will hang on to win still another gold medal, a 4th in the Los Angeles Games. To me, it seems doubtful, but we'll see. Montoya gave it to Stevenson 60-57, and an American judge gave it to Biggs 59-58. So that's the way it was. In just a moment, we're going to be taking leave of you, but I do want to say about this American team that it has quality. There's no question about it. Tyrell Biggs, a disappointment today, no question about that. Appeared to be only a 2-round fight. And in Olympic boxing, it's 3 minutes, 3 rounds, usually non-stop action. And he didn't have it in the final round, despite the claim of a low blow, which was disallowed by the referee. But the lower weight classifications, certainly we have fine young fighters. The United States was without the very great Mark Breland, finishing off, he hopes, a 5th gold medal in the Golden Gloves. But I think that the upper weight classifications will have some kids coming on, especially in the heavyweight division, with a kid named Avery Rawls and still another kid who has the look of a comer. So it's been, I think, a creditable performance by the United States team. In the meantime, we say so.
Welcome back to Coconut Ballroom at Merv Griffin's Resorts Casino Hotel.
Madison Square Garden Boxing.